It's been 23 days since Donald Trump became the next president of these United States. And while we've heard plenty from Trump thanks to ye old Twitter machine, we haven't seen him very much until today, when he held his first public event since his uncharacteristically gracious and subdued election night speech. Trump is kicking off his victory lap thank you tour this evening, but that first event took place this afternoon in Indianapolis, where he basked in the glow of the deal that he and Mike Pence have struck with the Carrier Air Conditioning Company to keep about 1,000 jobs from moving to Mexico next year. In the president-elect's brief speech, there was no shortage of self-aggrandizement and traditional Trumpian tangents, but his demeanor was calm and measured, and his message was optimistic about the nation's economic future.
I just want to let all of the other companies know that we're going to do great things for business. There's no reason for them to leave anymore, because your taxes are going to be at the very, very low end, and your unnecessary regulations are going to be gone. We need regulations for safety and environment and things, but most of the regulations are nonsense. It's become a major industry, the writing of regulations, and that these companies aren't going to be leaving anymore. They're not going to be taking people's hearts out.
Trump is heading to Cincinnati tonight for the first in a series of victory rallies over the coming days. So, Mark, on the basis of what we have seen so far at this Indianapolis event, what do you think we're going to see from Donald Trump on the rest of this victory rally tour?
A very familiar guy. Stream of consciousness, self-congratulation, an emphasis on winning, mocking the media, liking the hats. I mean, it was very similar. He didn't call her Crooked Hillary, except for that. It was very similar to a campaign event. And, you know, it's interesting. He got such great marks on his election night speech. I didn't hear a lot of that, either tone or those kind of lines. But I will say the Trump brand, as a successful political brand, has been emphasizing winning. This deal, for all its flaws, which we'll talk about, is winning. This is it. This is, I think, the version of president, more days than not, we're going to get come January.
I thought that, you know, if that's right, and certainly that on the basis of the Indianapolis event, it seems to suggest that we're going to see a lot of campaign-style Trump out there on the campaign on this victory tour. It seems to me that it makes clearer than ever that this tour is not so much about saying thank you, although that's part of it, but it's also just about, amazingly, and I'm going to say these words and everyone is going to cringe when I say it, but it's really the first set of events of the 2020 re-election campaign. You know, Donald Trump managed to win election in a way that in some respects was predictable, in others was totally shocking, but by winning these Midwest states that had been part of the blue wall, Iowa, Ohio, obviously, but also Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, places he's going, some of them on this tour. Indiana, one that he won by a lot, 19 points, I think. He understands that if he's going to get reelected, he's got to maintain a strong basis for his political support in those places. And this is, both in terms of substance and in terms of tone, I think what we're going to see for the next couple days is, hey, man, the permanent campaign is on, and I'm already looking 4 years down the road.
I say this without a judgment about the merits, and I say this without really knowing the answer, and I say this even though Donald Trump didn't raise it. But the question is raised, why didn't the current president do this? And I think Donald Trump today implicitly was on that was part of the victory lap.
Well, I think the answer is that the current president didn't want to do what I'm sure is now is about to happen. Is he did this? The reason this deal happened was, I think, again, we're going to talk about the merits of it in a second, but you know, it's about tax policy. It's not about like a bunch of small inducements that got laid out. We've heard about Indiana's role in this, but this is a larger thing that's going on with Carrier's parent company and wanting to stay in good stead in terms of defense contracts and in terms of tax reform going forward. And I don't think Barack Obama wanted to play that game.